Hello everyone, welcome back to Ramon at Home. I'm so excited you're here today because in this video I want to take a few minutes to talk to you about how God is faithful. There is a Bible verse, 1 Corinthians 10:13, that saved my life. About a month ago, I shared with you a video that I named Why I Chose God. And on that video, I told you about how I came from Kansas to San Diego because my aunt was sick with cancer. And I came to relieve my mother, who was still mourning the loss of my father a few years before. And so the last 3 months of my aunt's life, dealing with cancer, I came here and I helped as much as I could because I am not a nurse. So I had no idea what I was doing. After my aunt passed, which was the darkest and most difficult time of my life because I had to do some things that I don't even want to talk about because I was not trained for it. But after my aunt passed, I had to endure 2 years of a legal battle with a family member that I will not discuss. But that also was something that I felt like, why is this happening to me? You know, like I did a good deed by helping my aunt, and now I have to deal with this legal issue. After that was resolved, actually, while that was still going on, that's when the pandemic started. And when the pandemic started, if you guys remember, it was chaos. Everything was just, we didn't know what was gonna happen. I had to bring my grandma to live with me because she was almost 90 at the time. So we were all just concerned for her health because of her age. And I remember so clearly, one day I was in my back patio and I was drinking and smoking like a train. You guys, I don't even smoke. And I really don't even drink that much either. But I was drinking every day, I was smoking, and I remember sitting there thinking, why am I so unhappy? What did I do to deserve this? All I was trying to do was a good deed. All I was trying to do was to help my aunt. Now, you have to understand what my aunt meant for not only me but my whole family. She was the rock of the family. She was the first person in our whole family to get herself an education. She became a nurse when she was 16, then a legal resident in the US, and then after that, a citizen. She built her dream home and she had it all. And so when she got sick, she was my confidant, and I loved her like a mother. That's how much I love my aunt. That's why I came here to help her. So her loss was really, really, really a struggle for the whole family. But I chose to come here, which now I understand that actually I didn't choose to come here. But what I did was to answer a call from God. Because the Bible says that the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. So you have to know that whatever is going on in your life, if you are a believer in God, you are what you're meant to be. In that moment, I didn't understand. And after my aunt passed and when the pandemic happened, I remember sitting in the back porch and thinking, why is this happening to me? Why, God, why am I so unhappy? Why are all these problems coming my way when all I wanted was to do a good deed and help my aunt? And so what did I do to deserve this? And I remember the next day drinking my coffee in the table, and I was so unhappy, and it just felt like this cloud would never leave me. I was depressed, I was anxious. And I remember grabbing my computer and typing how to attract happiness, which to this day is the best search that I've ever done because I went on this rabbit hole until I found Jesus. I started with the law of attraction. I saw so many videos about how to attract happiness, which now I understand that the only happiness that you need in your life, only God can provide. Any other type of happiness is temporary and it doesn't last. So if you focus your eyes on God, He will be able to provide you with the happiness that your heart needs. He not only provides you with happiness, but He gives us rest, which is what He gave to me. Because after 4 years, almost 4 years of struggling, I went on this rabbit hole of searches, and 2 days later, I landed on this video on YouTube that I wish I had the link so you can listen to it, but ever since has been deleted, which makes me feel that God sent it my way. And after I heard it, He's like, I'm done with that video, delete. But the pastor, the preacher, talked about 1 Corinthians 10:13. And I know that by the Bible verse by now, but I want to read it to you because I don't want to butcher it. It is the Bible verse that changed my life, and it says, there has no temptation taken you, but such as is common to men. But God is faithful. I'm going to try not to cry because every time I read this Bible verse, it means so much to me that brings tears to my brings to my eyes. It says, but God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above what you're able, but will with the temptation also make a way of escape that you will be able to bear it. There has no temptation taken you over such as common to men. So what the way the pastor explained it is like whatever is happening in your life right now, whatever problem you have right now, whatever you think is happening to you right now, this has happened to somebody before. There has no temptation taken you over, but such as is common to man. And then God enters to the verse and it says, but God is faithful. And that's what got my attention. But God is faithful. Because I remember asking, how is God faithful? How is God faithful when He allows these things to happen? When He allowed this to happen to me when I was just trying to do a good deed? I was angry to God. I knew of God because ever since I was a child, my mother took us to church. So we knew of God, but I did not know God. But how can this pastor says, God is faithful? Faithful how? Faithful how? Because He allowed my aunt to get sick with cancer, because He allowed my aunt to die, because He allowed me to have this problem for over 2 years, because He allowed the pandemic, because He allowed. How is God faithful? But then you have to continue to read the text. Who will not suffer you to be tempted above what you're able. He will not suffer you to be tempted about what you're able. I had to sit on that for a while. God will not put more on us than He knows we are able to bear. So what that means is God is our creator. He made me. He knows who I am. It says in the Bible, when I was in the womb, He knew me. Before I was born, He knew me. You know, on Jeremiah, He says, for I know you from when you were in your mother's womb. I sanctify you to be a prophet unto the nation. So God knows because He's your creator. The world don't know. My mother doesn't even know what I'm able to bear. But God knows. He knows what you are able to bear. Okay, so it says, who will not suffer you to be tempted about what you're able, but will with the temptation also make a way of escape that you will be able to bear it. Now, I had to sit on that also as well, because what was my way of escape? So I came to the agreement that God is faithful because He knows what I'm able to bear, and He knew what I was able to handle. I'll tell you real quick. 2 days before my aunt passed, they did a surgery on her where they put catheters on both of her kidneys. And that was perhaps the most scariest day of my life and the darkest day of my life, because I was the one that stayed with her when they took her to surgery. And then she came out and she was all drugged up and she kept on pulling him. And I just remember screaming like to the nurse, 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 because she was trying to pull on the kidney catheters. And I remember that day I said, God, I can't do this anymore. I just can't. I tried to help as much as I could. I'm not a nurse. I'm done. I cannot. And as sad as it is, 2 days later, my aunt passed. God knew that I couldn't help handle it anymore. And so He knew what my limits were, and He let me get to what my limits were. And so now I understand that God, whatever it is in our lives, God will not put more on us than we are able to bear. And then also it says that He will make a way of escape that we will be able to handle it. I remember when my aunt got sick, I had just started my YouTube channel. A few months before, I think I started in September. She got sick in November, or she was in surgery in November. So I had a few months with my YouTube channel. I was still getting acquainted with it. But I remember using my YouTube channel as a way of escape. And if you've been here since, you know that I used to talk to you guys on YouTube and tell you all about it. So He allowed me to start that YouTube channel because He knew that my aunt was gonna get sick, and He knew that I would need friends to help me cope with what I was going through. And I had just moved to San Diego, so I didn't know anyone other than my mom and my grandma. So He allowed me to start my YouTube channel. He put me in the situation because He knew that I was able to bear. And I remember days thinking, why me, God? Why me? Why me? Why not her? Why not him? Why not other person in my family? Because He knew that I was able to bear it. So with all of this said, I just want you to know that whatever you're going through, it might seem really hard and it might seem really dark. I know what you're going through. I've been through it myself. I want you to know that God is faithful and that He will not suffer you to be tempted above what you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way of escape that you will be able to bear it. So all you have to do is talk to God. Talk to God. All I needed to do was do that search on Google and go in that rabbit hole of information till I found God, and He explained all of those things to me. This is why I chose you, because you were able to bear it. You are not able to bear what your neighbors are able to bear, and your neighbor's not able to bear what you're able to bear. Only God knows why. And I promise you, if you ask him, he'll answer you. He gave me those answers. You know, another Bible verse that I love is the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Like I said, you are where you're meant to be. If you are a believer in God and if you have faith in God, you have to know that you are what you're meant to be. And if it's hard and if it's difficult, you have to know that God is faithful and he will not suffer you to be tempted above what you're able. But you also have to know that with the temptation, there is a way of escape. Ask him, what is my way of escape? He'll show you the way of escape. All right, you guys. Well, I wanted to talk to you about that because I'm really passionate about this Bible verse. It really changed my life. It made me understand a lot of things. And that is the Bible verse that God used to call me. And so here I am. And I'm just want to let you know, every first of the month, I'm going to come here and talk to you guys and give you a little message from the Bible that it has helped me deal with the last 4 years of my life since I found Jesus. So come back every first of the month if you enjoy this video, and I'm gonna talk to you and share with you how I made it through and the Bible verses that helped me and how they helped me in case that you're going through. If you're going through anything difficult, and who isn't, right? We're in the middle of a pandemic. If you're going through anything difficult, be sure to leave me a comment down below. If you have any questions, also be sure to leave me a comment down below, and I'll be more than glad to answer them for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I really pray for you every day, and I hope that God will bless your life. Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye.